Sup Shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands and welcome to SP Reviews, where today we have ourselves a track by an act named John Eason titled Be Amazed. And if we switch over to here, we have ourselves a track on the screen, on Music B, and we're going to listen through it from start till finish, and we're going to hear what we think. Let's go, what do we got?
Life keeps knocking me down.
Instantly, great vocal fry there, the piano coming in, everything like that, nice unison, drums. Great emotional weight to the performance there vocally. I mean, like, we're just straight into that chorus. There's absolutely no filler. I like the sound of that snare drum, actually. I like the wire that I can hear in there. And the coloration and the overall harmony is gorgeous.
Just forget to be amazed at the silent snow of the smell of rain. The way the sun comes out again with that first kiss, that first day, that first road trip is a drive away. Don't let the magic fade away. Let yourself be amazed.
Don't let the magic fade away. Let yourself be amazed. You know, when I hear that, I think that's a beautiful sentiment because it can be so easy to get distracted by all the things in life and how overwhelming they are. I think it's wonderful that we're exploring these concepts within the song because I think it's more relevant now than ever with how people have so much crazy stuff going on in the world, you know? Great use of a lead section here on the guitar with those slides and country-like motifs. There's no filler in here for sure, you know? Great call and response between the leads and the vocals. I like the way that everything's leveled together in the mix. I think that, you know, overall, there aren't any sort of issues with the studio production or anything like that. I like how things stop and then start again, and there's not a constant sense of legato with everything. There's some staccato bits, just to change things up, keep things engaging and unpredictable. Great use of unison bends here with those harmonies on the lead.
You can't catch tomorrow, dragging around yesterday. There's
true.
Right now, and I ain't gonna wait. So caught up in the day-to-day, just forget to be amazed at the sight of snow or the smell of rain. The way the sun comes out again with that first kiss.
I actually think this is a really enjoyable message for people to hear. It's a really wholesome track with some goodwill within it.
First day, that first road trip as you drive away. Don't let the magic fade away. Don't let the magic fade away. Let yourself be amazed. Oh, be amazed. Yeah, be amazed.
And just letting that hook line resonate out with the ooh and the backing vocals, with the lead guitar kind of taking center stage at that point with the drum groove and bass and everything else being supportive. I think there's also an organ in here that's been chirping along in that mid-range there, playing pad-like chords alongside it. There definitely has, yeah.
Don't let the magic fade away. Let yourself be amazed.
No, I actually really like the message behind the song. I think it's really positive. I think it's a track that can actually help people. Great. Because this is the conclusion of my review of this track from John Eason titled Be Amazed. What I think the track is about, well, I mean, I think I've already spoken what I think it's about. It's about someone who is saying, yo, you know, I know that life's kind of tricky at the moment and it's so easy to forget about the small things, but just go outside, breathe in the air, the freshness, look at the sun rising, you know, take in those things around you and try not to take them for granted and be amazed by it and don't just assume you know everything, you know, have some, let that inner child within you kind of come back out again and let the cynic be like a little bit lower for a bit. I think that's a great message. I've got no issues about that whatsoever. I think it's something that a lot of people probably need to hear even if they don't necessarily want to. And yeah, cool. The vocal performance there sounded authentic. It sounded like the guy wanted us to go outside and be more present with what's around us. So that was great. There was an sense of authenticity there. The vocal melodies that we had in there and the solo as a solo position in the midfield there were great. I think he was really present in the mix there. Some little flurries of legato passages there between notes there, but the story was the most important part of the performance and he smashed it out of the park as far as I'm concerned. I got nothing but love for it. When I hear vocalists like this, especially in genres I don't hear as often, I'm always curious as to how they approach topics like this in a way that isn't cheesy. But I think part of it was the vocal fry, but also just he didn't try to overhype the performance. It seemed like he was just trying to have a conversation with you about it. And I think that's what made it less cheesy sounding and more kind of like, hey, I want to actually interact with this as a listener. So that's great. The track itself at 3 minutes 20, the theme was nice and uplifting and positive and hopeful and gentle and caring sounding with those guitar leads, with the drum grooves there, with the bass line that supported it in the low end, with the organs and piano parts that would slow down at the start of the verse. Boom, 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 boom. You know, that would go in unison with him there as things came back in that second half. It was just a kind of to and fro tugging motion in those verses, which I appreciated between the slower and fast, more sort of full sounding bits. That was instant contrast. I also really enjoyed what was going on in terms of the stuff with the chorus section. There was lots of sort of like bits where like, you know, it would just be constant flowing motion there. But the dun-dun, they'd have the accents on some of those tom hits or snare hits. And the vocals would be in tune with that, and it would just be sensational, really easy and eager to take in. And you just got the feeling that whoever, you know, the people that wrote this track, or whether it was John doing everything himself, either way, you got the impression there that they really did care about this track and they really wanted it to do the best they could. And so they put these little intricate little messages in there so that there was no filler within the piece, but also so that the listener would get much more out of it than they might usually do if they'd simply been like, oh yeah, the vocals are enough. The lead lines on the guitar were technically proficient and I enjoyed hearing them. I didn't think it was a nice display of articulation there that didn't go too close to what the vocals were doing and didn't overstay their welcome. The drums are obviously nice and supportive on that low end, keeping the groove going with that quarter note accent and with occasional eighths there just to kind of switch the pace up a little bit. And I think ultimately with the structure of verse chorus sequences that we had there, alongside some occasional instrumental parts there, I think it was a great use of 3 minutes 19. The studio production, recording, mixing and mastering was great. I think that we absolutely smashed it out of the park in regards to all that. The recording of the vocals was fantastic. The you know, the mixing, leveling of the other instruments mix, like the guitar, the bass, the organs and the key and the piano was great too. No weird resonant frequencies in the frequency spectrum. It was nice and wide in the stereo field. And things were nicely compressed and without over-processing the instruments. There was still a sense of a raw feel to it or a live feel to it. There was no real sense of warmth there, I think, that came from those organ parts, but also just because it sounded like they recorded through an analog console, or at the very least were going for that vibe. I think that was very sort of like genuine sounding. It was great, matched well with the topic, matched subject matter and everything like that. I think too many synthetic elements would have alienated the listener. And there was dynamic range in there. And it was nice and loud without pumping. And that's effectively my review of John Eason and their track Be Amazed. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please do go check out their various social medias. And I'm sure this will be on all digital streaming platforms soon. And stay cool and stay safe. And please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they either help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world. And I will catch you in the next review. Spiderhands out.